in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop. Yeah, it's lit in the chop shop. Turn your dials up in the drop top. They ain't based in debate, but they keep it fact straight. Going 30 for 30. Let's do a first take on Facebook Live from 12 to 2. Rob Hatter and Jim Hicks going back and forth like Carter Ray and Skip Bayless and Stephen Smith. From on the court, off the court, straight to the field. Not a man that steals, but I made it steal. To the octagon where I fight to kill. We go face to face, then you write your will. I don't play tennis, but I bring the racket. I'm on the floor, I attack the basket. Put you in the casket when I'm overlapping. Never showing mercy, cause I'm always snapping. Never showing mercy when I'm in the arena. Step into the ring, he see me as I beat him. Step into the court, I'm never backing down. Killing competition, I'm smacking down. Let me get back to the other stuff at the chop shop, cause they cutting up. It's retro, coming to you live to the chop shop. Now let's turn it up. Yeah, we in the chop shop, man. Shout out to Jim Hicks and Rob Hatter. You can catch the chop shop live from 12 to 2 on Facebook Live. Let's get it. We in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop.
Welcome to the Chop Shop, your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Jim Hicks, on this Monday. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Robert Hatter's traveling, and he may be able to chime in and beam in with you guys or with us throughout the course of this day. How was your weekend? I see you guys are starting 5. We're going to give you some love shortly. Waiting to everybody file on into the building. The rooms, we call them the boom boom rooms, and that is we are streaming simultaneously on Facebook and on YouTube. And if you're a first timer, welcome to the Chop Shop. We're going to give plenty of love and cover various topics throughout the afternoon. I am now I'm going to acknowledge my starting 5. That's the first 5 to log in through either platform when the show became live today. Shout out to D. Holcomb. Shout out to Tyrone Campbell, Sterling Creeks, Brad Kimball, and of course, Daryl Anderson. Shout out to you guys. Thanks for being in that starting 5. Speaking of starting 5, that'll be one of the topics that we're going to dive into later on in the show. Of course, also we may open up the phone lines for you guys. You know how we do when I'm solo. I may open it up, let you guys chime in. A lot of topics. We'll be able to, you guys will later on to be able to toss some of your questions. And we're going to address some things or some of the pet peeves or some of your grievances about different things related to the recruiting or grassroots sports. That's a hot topic every Monday. It seems like people going out and having unpleasurable experiences at grassroots youth events. We'll talk about that as well. I am also give a shout out to this past weekend with the JRB events, another successful community give back in regards to the Elite 36 Youth Basketball Showcase, whereas each team was allowed to play for absolutely free. We talked about this. We've been talking about this for over a month now. And on this past weekend, the teams got to pick whether they want to play on Saturday or Sunday. And some teams played both days. We had about 117 total teams throughout the 2 days combined. And mind you, if some of them played on both days, then we counted them as because it's really 2 tournaments in one weekend. Shout out to Rick Nelson. Shout out to Jerry Levy in the gym. Shout out also to Aldine ISD, Ben Davis High School, Coach Chris Packer and his staff for us helping with their fundraiser. Because of our efforts this past weekend, the Aldine Davis High School has their expenses covered to travel to the TABC event in June. See, this is what this stuff does when we're giving back like this. And people going around, I'm getting word that a lot of people, they're like, hey man, what's the catch? No, there's no catch. The catch was simple. The catch was to force people to become better consumers while giving them a better product for free. We're giving you Blue Magic for free for the teams. As opposed or you can go and continue to pay for some slop. Get what you pay for. That's what's normally what people say. But in this case, it's different. You're getting more organized, more galvanized, and this event is picking up traction. If you don't believe that, you better ask somebody. 3 different events we gave and waived the team fees. Waived the team fees. 3 different events. And guess what? We've averaged over 100 teams over those 3 events. It's averaged over 100 teams. Remember, the first event was 115 teams. Last week, 2 weeks ago, we had 95. Then this past weekend, 117. So that's probably an average of maybe about 108, I would think. Safe math. It's picking up traction. And sooner or later, people are going to go and they're going to continue to take advantage of these type of opportunities. No other catch. And then sooner or later, yes, you know what? I can think of some catches. Know what some catches could be? If you're a small business owner out there, you can use this type of stuff to attach your business to introduce it to all of the multiple parents that are going in and out of those doors that are from various walks of life, resourcefully and economically. That could be the catch, maybe. Because in any event, if you got sponsorships, then guess what? That means now it helps absorb some of the costs. We have to pay for the referees. We have to pay for the court costs. We have to pay for the police officer. We have to pay for the trainer. We have to pay for the support staff, which we pay kids and people to keep the clock and the books for each game. We have to pay for the insurance. All those are expenses. We have to pay for the team check-in person, the door person, a site supervisor. Those are expenses, whether you're charging the teams or not. People have the nerve to ask, what's the catch? Remember, guys, there's some people and that's not going to like you no matter what you do. You can save their mama from drowning. They still not going to like you. Now, they might like the fact that mama got saved, but they're not going to like you. I understand that. So be careful who you indulge in these conversations with out there, guys. Um, you know. Also, as we move on, I want to give, first, before we get back to basketball, let's go deviate a little bit. I want to give a huge round of applause to, first, the Atascocita High School boys track team. They went down and they took care of business and did not disappoint at the UIL state track meet. And to be truthful, everybody was just waiting on the 4x1. The 4x1, why? Because Atascocita had set a record and ran under 39 in one event that was held at Rice Stadium last month. I happened to be present. And they edged Duncan, well, not edged, they beat Duncanville in that highly anticipated 4x1 boys. The rematch was set. Everybody was saying, hey man, Duncanville gonna come and get that. We'll see if Atascocita can keep it up. We'll see you at state. Well, you just saw Atascocita at state. And this young fella, Jelani Watkins, I call him Little Red. Little Red ran, get that ankle leg, and it's poetry in motion watching that young fella run with a baton in his hand, coming around that curve when he gets that thing on the curve. You're not catching him. You're not catching him. And Atascocita, their team won the overall championship at the UIL. They also won the 1600 meter relay. Atascocita did. And when they ran that 4x1, they did not set the national record again, but this time is the second fastest behind that record. So this quartet, right, set the national record, then came back and broke every other record except their own record, right, at the state meet. Man, I also want to give credit and props to Thurgood Marshall boys track team. They are the Class 5A state champions. I guess how DFW feels in basketball, I guess that's how Houston feels when it comes to track. I guess. Because there's some supreme speed. This Thurgood Marshall team ran the 4x1 in that event that was at Rice last month. They finished 5th in their heat. They finished 5th. I say, man, what happened to Thurgood Marshall? Man, that was just a fast heat. Think about it. At the state tournament, of course, Thurgood Marshall didn't get to run in the same race with Atascocita and Duncanville and those guys, Katie Tompkins but because they're 6A, they're 5A. But in that race with them, they came in 5th. Think about it like this: at state, Katie Tompkins ran under 40 and didn't even place. And didn't even place. Atascocita, those guys I mentioned, Jelani Watkins. Let me acknowledge the other young men, right? Torrey Blaylock. We also have Jordan Parker, And this little kid Fontenot, Landon Fontenot. That's the fourth one. Landon Fontenot, Torrey Parker. Torrey Blaylock, and of course Jelani Watkins. They set a state meet record besting. They finished at 39.14. 39.14. The state record was 39.76, which was set in 1998 by Fort Worth ODY. This record had been standing, guys, for over 25 years. These young men broke this record. They didn't break it, they shattered it. To put things in perspective, I mentioned that Tompkins, they didn't even place in this race. You get first, second, and third. Tompkins ran under 40 seconds, and still didn't place. To let you understand just how fast that race was. Remember, Tascasita, 39.14. Duncanville finished second, right? 39.47. North Shore was 39.79. Tompkins was 39.85. And this kid, Watkins, became the first athlete in the history of the UIL to have a team state championship from two different high schools in back-to-back years. He won it. He was at Klein Forest High School last year. They won the overall team. This year's at Tascasita, they won the overall team. He signed and will be at LSU next year. Jelani Watkins. I'm wondering, and I'm curious, anybody know or close to the family, we have an open invite to get any of those young track guys on the Chop Shop this week. Also, I know with his resume, the name, image, likeness, bag. Of course, it's track. It ain't the same, but it can be. It can be comfortable. What it's going to be for this young fella. All right? Now, speaking of Watkins, he didn't even run the 100 last year at state. He just did the relays. Racked up points that way. He ran the 100 for the first time this past weekend. He took first in that, 10.19. 10.19. Wow. Do you understand? He almost got the national record in the 100 by running for the first time at this state tournament. Ooh-wee. See, Sonia Billingsley is giving a little props to Tascasita and Thurgood Marsh. He won 3 golds. That's right, he won one. I was just about to say in 200 as well. Dude, that's a show. And Thurgood Marshall took care of business. Shout out to them. I mean, it's a different type of athlete out there nowadays. Records are being broken routinely every other year, it appears. I mean, it's a different, and the thing is, it's funny, because at first the debate was a lot of these kids, their bodies may break down because of some of the foods they consume was not as natural as what Big Mama used to make back in the day. That was one of the, I'm not a health expert by no means, but that was one of the debating factors. I know one thing. You look at the frames of these young men and the way that they don't get it twisted now. I know one thing that's undebatable is what's inside a lot of these guys compared to the old days. Or their ability, their survival skill set, I just put it like that, is much lesser than yesteryear. The survival skill set. Meaning that if a kid stayed at home all day, mom was going out, there were certain foods that were in the house that you didn't necessarily have to cook, or, you didn't have to, there was stuff in the house that you can eat to survive. You can eat and still be good. These kids now, think about it, DoorDash done changed the game. So their survival skill set isn't there because you can always rely on delivery. Or mama gonna rush home and make something to eat for you. When the last time one of your kids ate a peanut butter jelly sandwich? I'm just curious. Last time one ate a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. There's no cooking involved. Only thing you need is some bread. Peanut butter, jelly's in the refrigerator. Lunch meat stays in the refrigerator. If bread is there, you can survive. Wieners stayed in the refrigerator. Wasn't no microwave back in the day, so you had to boil or cook all of that stuff. Breakfast, that was always, you got the big skillets now. Mom always kept one of those little bitty skillets. The cast iron little bitty one. Who remembers that? You make the best eggs in that joker. You ain't have to, you put the egg in there, you can actually add the ingredients while it's cooking. Drop the egg in that small cast iron. You already had the lunch meat cut up. You dice it. Put the lunch meat, sprinkle it up in there, throw the salt and the pepper up in there. If you wanted some tomatoes in that, you did, but that wasn't a prerequisite. There you go. That's like a scrambled omelet. You got down. You made one of them. You walk out, put a toothpick in the middle of it, walk down the street, guys see you there. Oh, you get props. That's street cred, if you want to know. What's street cred? When your buddies know mom gone and you walk out the house with you done made a hot dog. That's street cred. But yes, Barry McDonald, he ran a 10.19 Jelani Watkins. And the national record in the 100 is held by a kid from Houston. I think young man went to straight Jesuit. I think he went to Georgia, if I'm not mistaken, in track. So Jelani Watkins ran a 20.6 in the 200. So that means over his career, he earned 9 gold medals for Jelani Watkins. Man, shout out to that young man. That's one of the most decorated track stars probably in the history of high school track, especially in the state of Texas. Now, as we mentioned that and we're talking track, I would be remiss if I did not. You think 9 medals is something? How about if I tell you there was a person at the track meet that has just won their 12th gold medal and still has another year of high school to go. 12 gold medals. 12 for 12. Right? And her name is Taylor Nunez at Randolph High School in San Antonio. She's in the 3A classification, but let me tell you something. In track, for some people, it don't even matter about classification. You know what they should do? UIL should actually anoint whoever has the best time, regardless of class. Then that would be your grand champion. Or make them a grand champion. That means whatever you win, you can be the state champion. 6A, 5A, 4A, 3A, 2A, 1A. But if your time in 1A is the best of all those classes, and it should be the 100 meter, you should be the grand champion. That way people will be able to start identifying that you had the fastest time of all classes. Is that possible? Any of you guys work in UIL? It's nothing. They don't have to run an extra race. You're just buying an extra award, basically. You buy an extra award and you mail it to the school. What are we talking? An extra, what? They get the awards probably on, remember they get them on bulk rate. UIL is buying awards repeatedly from whoever has that contract. So it ain't nothing to get that at, what, $50? $50. So you're talking boys and girls, every race, what, another 40 to 50 awards. It's not much. It's not much. Let's make the day. Nothing else. Put them on the website. This is the grand champion. Grand champion. And Olivier say, didn't the kid in Beaumont Central hold that record? Chopper Williams. Which race are you talking about, Walt? Which race are you talking about? Shout out to D. Fraud. Stephen Leary went back to the old school, the beanie weenies, welfare cheese and lunch meat and bologna. Man, you needed a different type of knife to cut that cheese, back in that government cheese. You need a different type of knife. That was some work. It was better off just to go and just cut that one time you get it. That way you got to worry about keep cutting it over and over. You have to have a skill set for those. The beanie weenies. That's a blast to the past right there. Yeah, Paul Miranda right on time. Said, did you give props to Tessie? Yes, we did. Gave props to them and Thurgood Marshall and the little man Jelani Watkins. But now we're talking about Taylor Nunez. She won a 12th gold medal, guys. The 100, the 200, the 4x1, and also the long jump. Started off with the medal in the long jump. Took that out the gate. Her first jump was good enough to win that. You're talking about class 3A. That's why I said it should be a grand champion. That way now it can give more thump when people say, oh, that was class 1A. Or that was class 3A. I'm just curious. I don't have the stuff in front of me. But can anybody let me know if Taylor Nunez ran in 5A or 6A or 4A for that matter, what place would her 4 medals have been? Would they have been golds, silvers, bronze? I'm just curious. To see how this stacks up to things. I know for a fact last year she would have been the grand champion in 100. And yes, that she is the daughter of Lupe Nunez. We'll ask you guys to share the show right now. If you haven't done so, please share the show, the Chop Shop, to your feeds, to your stories. Let's get it out there to everyone. Then come on in and file on in, right? Now, man, next year she will be in the 12th grade and will be going for her 16th gold medal. Does anybody know what the record is for girls' gold medals? I'm just curious. What is the record? I mean, we all can find out later on, but I'm just curious. I want to know now. Does anybody know what the record is for gold medals for girls in the UIL state track meet? At the state track meet. What's the record? Because 16 gold medals would have to be close, if not it. Right? And so Kevin Drones says, our colony, boys and girls, did they win state? Let me see. Let me know, guys. Did they win state as well? They're class 4A. Y'all keep me posted on that. No, Walt saying 100 meters. No, Walt, he held that 100 meters back in the days, a few years back. But the kid from Straight Jesuit, a white kid, if I'm not mistaken, broke that record. And now, and that record still stands. The young kid from Straight Jesuit, I can pull his name up. I can pull his name up for you. Matthew Boling. B-O-L-I-N-G. Matthew Boling. Wow. So shout out again. Let me put that on there. Our colony boys are the 4A state champions. Our colony girls are the 4A state champions. We mentioned to you earlier about Thurgood Marshall are the boys 5A state champions. And of course, the Atascocita Eagles, the 6A state champions. Let me tell you something, guys. That 3A for championship, the long jump, and a couple of those races, I didn't realize 3A was on Thursday. I went last year for my first time ever, and I saw little Nunez take care of business. I didn't realize it was a Thursday. I would definitely be there next year because it's on that Thursday. And I get in and get on, take care of some business in Austin, slide down to that outlet down the street in San Marcos. You know, get a couple of sacks, throw them in the trunk, come on back home. I'm going to be there to celebrate that moment with her and her family and next year. Ain't no doubt about it. I've been, you know, that's this young lady is, let me tell you something. She checks all of the boxes to become box office. Every box she checks. She's smart. She's tall and strong. She has the right hue from the mixed parents. Her mom is a Hall of Fame track star. Her father is one of the 100 most influential people in amateur basketball nationwide, who, by the way, has a consulting deal with Under Armour. It's going to be, remember, this young lady checks all of the boxes. That Randolph is like a military school. Not military school, but a lot of the students, it's on a military base. Randolph High School. So that means that talent comes and goes. Because you're wondering, like, you know, people get in the military gets stationed and they move to this base and move to that, and for families relocated, uprooted all the time. So the talent comes and goes. Next year, Taylor Nunez. Well, hell, right now, man, wait till next year. She is special already. Indeed, she is special. As I say, we gave a shout out, Paul, to Jelani for 9 gold medals. But Taylor Nunez has 12 already. 4 in the 9th grade, 4 in the 10th grade, and 4 in the 11th grade. And she's a gorgeous young lady. Checks all the boxes. She's not into goofy stuff. She don't have to be at the party. She ain't sneaking out the house in the middle of the night. Hell. So her mom is a trainer. I'm telling you, checks all the boxes. That means now that outside influence, that outside person, that third party that people often talk about, they don't have to worry about that. All the boxes checked. Ain't nobody coming into that circumference unless you are planted there. Economically, all those, they don't have no sidewalks in front of her house, but she living good. So that's why I'm saying she check all the boxes. So in other words, she doesn't need track to save her family or to buy mama or daddy a new house. That ain't needed. That ain't the influence. She needs track as a self-serving motivator to just continue and kick some ass when it's time, 10 or 11 seconds at a time, or 19, 20 feet at a time. That's what she doing. Man, I'm talking about the thing about her. Every year at the state basketball tournament, not many teenagers can sit still and watch other teenagers for an extended amount of time. She watches basketball games. You know, not all day long, but I've seen her actually watch San Antonio Wagner play a whole game. Her and her little brother. I've seen, so she's a good evaluator, or should be. Shout out to Trey Phillips. I see you. We talking a little. Welcome to the Chop Shop. Of course, and Rosie, what are you saying up there? Rosie says the 800 meters first and second times. Okay. You gave me. Okay, somebody gave me. Nunez ran a 11.46 the other day. That's all I could find. So in the 100 meters first and second times and women was 11.5. So Nunez would have won the 5A gold medal. So when people start saying, "Oh, that's just 3A," y'all missing this one. This is not applicable to this young lady. I'm telling you guys, if you haven't seen her, understand something. She is, what's the young lady name that went to North Carolina that was world class, ended up running in the Olympics back in the days? Young Young lady, teenager, took the world by storm. Can't think of her name. I know it by history, but she went to ran for North Carolina. She was signed with them. Man, what's her name? Can't think of it. But Taylor was ahead of her at this point in time. Her times are faster than hers. This young lady is special. She's special, man. And that's the thing. That's the thing about track. Your time is your time. And that's right. Classification has nothing to do with the talent. But people will always try to bundle it. Well, man, that's a 3A team. Oh, that's a 4A team. Well, I get it. This is an individual. Understand, the relays are different, but for the most part, that 100 and that 200, that's man on man. That's mano mano. That's female versus female. Her times, once you put it in the bundle it together and compare whatever her times were compared to the other ones, we already know what she did. She would have won. Her times were faster than every girl running 5A. What were they compared to the 6A? Because it don't even matter. They let you know, remember, she has another year left. And that is Taylor Nunez. Right? So, we got it right here. Looking at some of the comments, got messages coming through. We're going to talk shortly in regarding to Marion Jones. That's her name, Rick Brown. Keith Avery, D. Holcomb. Thank y'all. I'm just now looking at it and saw it pop up. Taylor Nunez's times are faster than Marion Jones' times at the same age, guys. Marion Jones, she took the world by storm. No disrespect to Marion Jones at all. But if you're a little boy and you're 16 years old, 15, 16, 17 year old, and you saw Taylor Nunez and you saw Marion Jones at the local sock hop, which one you going to ask for a dance? You 15, 16, 17 year old. I'm talking about back in your 15, 16, 17. It ain't even close. Don't even answer. Some of you guys, don't even answer. But you get what I'm saying. Check all the boxes. Shoot. It's going to be special right here, boss. Gonna be special. Now, we also got this past weekend, EYBL, Nike had their event in Atlanta. Puma had an event in College Station. Adidas had an event in Birmingham, Alabama. And now, of course, it's time we give a recap of those in the VIP news on rcssports.com. If you're just coming in, oh, that's a good thing. Thanks, her. That is another thing. I forgot about that. Marion Jones also admittedly was juiced up at some point of her career. Admittedly, this young girl, Taylor Nunez, I'm telling you, I'm going to have me a t-shirt. Lupe Nunez, her father, had the t-shirts made up for this year. Sent me pictures like, where you at? You coming? I said, oh, dog it. I thought I was going to miss it because it was on a Saturday. Didn't realize 3A is on Thursday. I'm there next year. suited and booted. And you know that last lap around the track, you know, parents have you won 12, you know, they're gonna act a dumb. It ain't gonna be enough tequila in San Antonio. Well, you run in Austin. We was in Austin last year. Oh, we're gonna be Soho House. Something after that. We're gonna get it in. I know it. You have CJ. He's gonna be there. The whole crew. Oh man. But anyway, fast forward over to the grassroots scene. We'll ask you guys to share the show if you would. Share the show to your social media pages. Looking for the bat line so that we can get it in and open up the phone line shortly. Let me see. Y'all bear with me. And what we'll do is y'all bear with me. We'll give you one of our good old friends. Let them come in and let's see how we want to do this for you. It's been a while. It's been a while. In a while. We'll take you here.
How are you going to be on the stage? How are you going to get from off the bench to on the floor? If you love basketball, you got to be passionate about what you do. You can't just play just to play.
If you really want it, you'll need to make sacrifices. You'll face doubt. You will fail. Whether or not you succeed, that choice is yours.
Welcome back to the Chop Shop, your midday sports happy hour, the best 120 minutes of your day. What's going on? What's in your cup right now? Hey, don't forget, guys, whatever it is, make sure you keep the kids first. And whatever you do out there, we're waiting shortly. We're going to be joined by Doug Jones and Archie Young. Going to recap the Elite 36, what they saw in some of the matchups. Also, meanwhile, we're telling you about some of the teams, how they fared. We're going to tell you about some of the teams, local teams, how they fared around the various events. Shout out to, first and foremost, to the Fam Elite. Say Pay and his basketball family with Fam Elite. Understand, they went 4-0 this past weekend in College Station. Went 4-0, right? And the thing is, and we're gonna get Doug in right in at the top of this. That way now we'll get Doug Jones and get him live into this. Doug Jones, what's going on? Welcome to the Chop Shop, sir.
What's going on, man? On the highway headed back home.
Head back home. Okay, ain't no. Look out there. Now, boy, you coming right on time. Of course, we're right in. Of course, you guys, if you cannot hear, though, you should be able to hear him pretty clear. And that's Doug Jones. Let me put something. Let me make sure. There we go. We got that on there where you can see who's on the phone. right? And there you go. Now, Doug, I was just going around the horn. We're gonna talk about the Elite 36 shortly, but this past weekend, Fam Elite was in College Station, and before, right as you call, I want to give credit and give props to Say his basketball family. Let me tell you something. This team, they went 4-0 this past weekend. They beat first game 65-47 over J1 Elite, right? That's almost a 20 piece. Then they won 61-26 over EAD Dallas, right? Then that's a 35 piece. Then they won 65-40 over Exclusive Hoops. That's a 25 piece. Then they wrapped it up with a 76-60 win over the Texas Wildcats, a 16 piece. This team, Fam Elite, reason that they occupy a special place in my heart, because when the grassroots season first tipped off, the official tip off of it was the spring icebreaker. That's the launch for the high school kids, that is. This team is all 11th graders, pretty much, and they came and they played in the spring icebreaker. And they didn't just say, give us the showcase games. We ain't studying about the other guys. We on a mission. Put us in the tournament, because I know it's going to be some thumping there as well. They ran the table in the 12th grade, 11th, 12th grade division. Won first place, which included a $1,000 donation to their program. So anytime they're playing in an event, to me, I feel that some of that $1,000 is going towards some of those entry fees, or some of that travel expenses, or whether they get cheese on their hamburgers or some extra chili on their hot dogs. I feel that $1,000 that we donated to their program as a result of them winning is rightfully served. And they've been kicking butt. I don't know what their record is this summer, but their record has to be like very impressive. Maybe 2 losses tops this entire spring, so to speak. So now, Doug, any words you got on that family? Who fared well, as you know of, this past weekend? Wait a minute. Hold on. Let's put you back on the. There we go. Now we got you, Doug.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Dylan Thompson played well. The unsigned team from Second Baptist, Tina Thompson's son, he played well in this weekend. Also, Jalen Center has been having a great spring from Atascocita. He played well. Elijah Black. Like, their team is really good. And the thing that makes them good is they have all guys. They have a bunch of guys that don't mind guarding. Like Ian Lowe, Elijah Black, Jalen Center, Brendan Webb. Like, those guys don't mind defending. So if you have a team that buys into defending, you're going to fare well, especially on the spring and summer circuit, for sure.
And that it is. So, of course, now, over at the Adidas event, which was held in Birmingham, I see one-time legends played 5 games over the course of the 3 days. 5 games. However, they only won 1 of them. What did you hear about the one-time legends?
I just saw a clip online where they were talking about Tracy McGrady's son, but it's not surprising. They have some really good teams on that Adidas 3SSB circuit. Like, you got to come to play, man. Like, this ain't a mom and pop chicken circuit. You know what I'm saying? You got to play, and it's unfortunate but they have a chance to redeem themselves in 2 weeks in Bryan College Station. They gonna have to, because 1-4 on the weekend, that's not a good look.
Yes, it's not a good look. They get a chance to redeem themselves during the live period in front of college coaches on May the 17th, the weekend of May the 17th. And we're going to talk about that weekend as well shortly. But let's cap it up with the Nike had their EYBL in Atlanta this past weekend, and that included a couple of Texas showdowns. What you get from that? What news you have for us from the EYBL?
I watched the JL3 Houston Hoops game. JL3 just had a little bit too much for him in that game, and then JL3 played against Drive Nation yesterday. Got off to a slow start, fell behind by 16, cut it to like 4 in the last few moments, but dug themselves too much of a hole, so they ended up going 2-1. The Hoops rallied yesterday to win against who did they play yesterday? I think they played Indy Heat. Indy Heat, I think that's what they played. But they ended up winning that game behind some good play behind Dorian Hayes and Howie King. So they avoided going winless on the weekend, so they ended up 1-2. So the live period is gonna be a big weekend for the Hoops because they are 2-4 right now, and you don't want to have to go into that last session, Memorial Day weekend, having to go undefeated. So they get 4 games in Indy in 2 weeks, so they're gonna have to at least go 3-1, I think. Maybe go undefeated.
And speaking of course, the Hoops, that opponent was, though you was talking about, that win was all Ohio Red.
Yeah, all Ohio Red. And, yeah, that's what it was.
And we want to give. I'm looking at the box score right now. You mentioned Dorian Hayes. He's the son of former NBA, former Houston Rocket Chuck Hayes, who works in the front office now with the Golden State Warriors. Dorian Hayes, he finished with 19 points, 5 for 6 from three-point land in that particular win. Also, Brandon Davis, BJ Davis Ray, he had 16 on 4 for 6 from behind the arc. Anthony Andrews, LJ Andrews, he had 14 points in that win. And Bryce Jackson had 13 for the Houston Hoops in that particular win over the All Ohio Red. Now back to that showdown from between JL3 and the Houston Hoops. Now, JL3 won 70-59. 70-59 was the final score. I'm looking at the box score right now. For the JL3, Sheldon Henderson from Bel Air High School, he was 8 for 10 from the field, 2 for 3 from three-point land, 4 for 5 from the stripe. He pulled down 9 rebounds, and he had, according to these stats, and he had 22 points in the win. The points are undisputed, undebatable, and they're about 99% accurate. The other stuff, we have to go with a grain of salt and say, according to this, hopefully in good faith, if there are some incorrect stats which was identified in the recent EYBL, then those people who do the statting would go back and modify their stats so they can be reflective of a truer rendition of what people saw. Now, 22 points, 9 rebounds in a W over the Houston Hoops. Also, Christian Jones, the little point guard who formerly attended Maid Creek High School, he showed up in that game. 15 points, 5 for 9 shooting in 31 minutes. Now, for the Houston Hoops, Brandon Davis Ray, he had 21, which in the loss on 7-8 shooting. Also, the only other person in double digits was Howie King. You mentioned him earlier. He had 11 points for the Hoops. What did you hear about that particular game, Doug?
Oh, I watched that game. I watched it in totality. Shelton Henderson was the best player on the floor, and it wasn't even close. On both ends of the floor, he guarded and he scored in a variety of ways. Christian Jones played really well. He's been playing well all spring and summer. Leading the team, defending. Like I said, it was the final score of how close that game was. JL3 pulled away at the end, but it was like a 2-3 possession game pretty much the whole way. But like I said, JL3 just had Shelton Henderson and the Hoops didn't. That was the difference.
Who was guarding Sheldon Henderson?
They tried different guys. They tried B.J. Davis Ray. They tried who else? They tried Bryce Jackson. They tried different guys. He's just so much more physically imposing and stronger than everybody.
Well, man, that's definitely a good showing for Sheldon Henderson, who's been on a rapid. His stock has been spiking upward ever since I saw him at USA basketball trials back during the Final Four. People were, they were taking notice. People that knew about him and saw him. Everybody, it was 16 and under last year, 15 and under the year before. They played their age groups, and as it progressed accordingly. And it was, first year in the 9th grade, it was Nigel. Then Sebastian Williams Adams was last year, was thrust out there as the guy. Now, with everybody else being 1B and 1C, but now it appears that Sheldon Henderson is putting some real separation in between himself. And then, of course, Bryce Jackson, he missed the entire season of scholastic basketball at Shadow Creek High School. People saying, okay, when Bryce comes back, we know he may or may not be 100%, but still, he's enough percent to be able to move the needle and rise up to a showdown against a guy like Sheldon. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, he is. It's just Shelton is definitely one of the top players in the country for a reason, though. But I think he's ascended to that top guy in the city and one of the best in the country. So, but he's been impressed for all spring or something. Even if he's not doing it on offense, he's going to impose his will defensively. You said it during the high school season that he was one of the best defenders, and he's proving it.
Yeah, man, it's great, and congratulations to them on that win. In the loss against Drive Nation. In that particular, I have the box score from the Houston Hoops, and once again, speaking of Sebastian William Adams, that was his best offensive outing of the weekend. He led the team with 21 points, right, on 7-11 shooting. Sheldon had 12 points, 6 rebounds, and Christian Jones added 12 points as well for JL3. What did you see or did you hear about that game? What happened how did Drive Nation manage to pull off this 61-59 victory?
For some reason, JL3 started slow on Sunday. They did it last week against Florida. Did it again yesterday. And you gotta give Drive Nation, they hit some tough shots. Like guys right there defending contested shots. They was just hitting tough shots. And Drive Nation jumped out to a 16-point lead. But JL3 cut it to like 4 in the waning moments, and Drive Nation free throws. I think JL3 hit a bucket at the buzzer to cut it to 2. But it was a really good competitive game, defensive. JL3 just got off, like I said, to a slow start.
Well, of course, and that was the action over in Atlanta with the EYBL, and next, those guys will be in action. The third leg of the EYBL will be during the live period during the weekend of May the 17th to the 19th. Speaking of that particular weekend, you have an event going on May the 17th, 19th. Tell us about that.
Yeah, the Doug Duggan Classic, the 5th installment. It's going to be good, man. Good competitive. I got a bunch of good young teams from some good independent 17U, 16 to 15 coming. I'm looking forward to it. Getting close to about 100 teams, so it should be a good weekend. I'm really excited about it.
Well, that's going to be a good thing. What is the format of the event? How is it going to? Have you decided how they're going?
The 9U through 14U is going to be tournament play, and 15, 16, and 17 are going to be showcase games.
Okay, you guess you're missing 9U through 14U will be tournament play, and the high school 15 and up will be showcase games, and that is the Doug's Dozen which will take place May the 17th through the 19th. And
Yes.
and now, how can they get a team registered if they seek to do so?
If you want a team registered, just email me at jones@rcsports.com, or you can text me at 409-365-4044.
Get that number again.
409-365-4044.
409-365-4044 is the number for Doug Jones to get your team in. The Doug Dozen time is running out. And when do you expect to close registration?
I'm going to close it probably either late Thursday night or early Friday morning so I can get the best scheduling guy in the country, Jim Hicks.
Man, I guess if I'm going to be doing the schedule, you make sure you let me know and give me I'm going to write that down and get a heads up. And as to making sure that I'm on top of that. Now, of course, tomorrow we're going to talk more on the Elite 36, but we're going to give you an opportunity you were present at the Elite 36 event. That's the free event for all teams that took place this past weekend, Saturday and Sunday, over at Davis High School, as well as the gym. And so you got to see some action. Did anybody catch your eye over there on any particular matchup, or was there any grudge action going on? What did you see, Doug?
Yeah, I caught a few games. I saw the defenders. The defenders played against Space Jam Elite and Selby Elite. The defenders are going to be all right, man. A lot of people thought the demise of the program was going to come, but shout out to Coach Larry Simon and those guys. They got it up and running, man. They're gonna be a force to be reckoned with on the New Balance. David Mercer from Port Arthur Memorial looked really good. It goes to Stafford. What's Scholar last name? I can't think of his name right now. Scholar, he was at Travis. He's at Stafford. He's going to be one to watch. I believe that kid might come out this summer with a few Division I offers. He has the size, the skill, the athleticism. He's going to wake up a lot of coaches this summer. EJ Baines is a really good guard that can score. I'm really proud of Coach Larry. Because like I said, a lot of people prayed on their demise after they lost the Under Armour deal, but they bounced right back up and they're doing well. Selby Elite has a kid named David Matthews. I think that's going to wake up a lot of coaches during the live period. He's a versatile player that goes to Summer Creek, about 6'4", 6'5", playing in the post during analysis. And he caught my eye as the spring icebreaker because he was playing like the 2-3, and I was like, man, I didn't know this kid could do that. So he's
Wait a minute, we lost Doug for a second. He might be going through some audio difficulties. We got him back now, and Doug was.
Yeah, I went on that dance spot.
And so Doug was giving his recap of what he saw at the Elite 36 basketball event that took place this past weekend. He was talking about the Houston Defenders, and I was looking to see they played on Saturday, their main team, and I got a chance to watch them once as well. And the phone started giving a little static. What were some of the players from that Defenders team that you say you liked again? Yeah, we can't. we having problems with Doug, but the Defenders they played and they beat their second game. First game was kind of tight for the first half. They pulled away from Selby Elite, but in that second game was a dogfight between the Defenders and Space Jam, what was the team formerly known as Space Jam Elite Sharp. That team now, I don't know what their name would be, but I think during the event they broke off from the Space Jam name from over some domestic issues. But this Space Jam Elite Sharp team on Saturday, they featured a guard who's committed to University of St. Thomas. And this young man right here had the Space Jam team up by 2 possessions with about a minute to go in this game. And however, the defenders made a couple of good defensive plays and pulled off the win 61-59. Now, you mentioned about that game before you went when we couldn't hear you, Doug.
Yeah, I can hear you can hear me?
Yeah, we got you now. Talking about the defenders.
Yeah, talking about Davin Mercer from the defenders and DJ Bain and Scholar that goes to Stafford. But on that Space Jam team is Dylan Jackson, man. That dude, he is a bona fide bucket. Like, he can score at all 3 levels. He has a crazy mid range. St. Thomas got a good one. I hope they can hold on to him seriously, because if he decides to play through the live period, another coach might snatch him up. But if he was smart, he'll go learn from one of the best in the game, Coach Medina.
I mean, guess what? You got it, man. That's the thing that's funny, is that the starting point guard for University of St. Thomas went to state with Atascocita a couple of years ago, and Angel, I think, what's Angel last name? Johnson,
Yeah.
And you have the young man, Lil Jackson, that's coming in there as well. And you have other guards like, man, we can go to St. Thomas. You're average guard. Even if you made first team all district, first team all region, first team all state, it don't matter. You're not likely to get burned in front of those 2 young men. And a lot of people have yet to just realize just how much talent there is at the sub-Division 1 level. That's the thing. Now, moving right along, also in action, we're talking about guys whose stock is trending upward, and people that are asking about on Sunday. I know that the True Players came in. That was like a team that is kind of merged in with some of the old Galveston Hornets. Are now merged in with Tree and his squad, which features a young 7-footer. And did you get a chance to see them play?
Yeah, I caught the game yesterday. He's intriguing for sure. He's a legit 7-footer, good hands. The thing that impressed me the most was he dove on the floor for a loose ball. I was like, man, you don't see a lot of 7-footers do that. He was blocking shots, rebounded, dunking it. He's super intriguing. What school does he go to?
Oh, that's Matthias Baye. And
that was Matthias. Okay, goes to Stafford.
No. Matthias goes to
Matthias goes to Marion.
Marion High School.
Marion, he goes to Marion.
This young man right here, he's an underclassman. I want to say the class of maybe 25 or 20.
25, yeah, he's 25.
And so he's improving every time I see him. One thing about him, he doesn't fall on the floor too often. As you mentioned about diving for a loose ball, that's a self-inflicted dive. That means that's purposely done. We're not talking about a lot of tall kids. They make a move, their momentum carries them on over to the floor. His equilibrium is above average compared to his peers or most high school 7-footers that are on the slender build. So one thing about him is that he's one to keep an eye on as he continues to develop. Guess what? The whole package isn't there yet. Understand? And it's smart move by a guy like Tree for keeping him on, I would call, the Chitlin circuit playing right now, because if he went out and played in the EYBL, or he went out and played on one of the major circuits, which they're calling and they're wearing him out about his services, the timing, the apple just isn't right, and you only get one time to impress. It's better to go and somewhat dominate at this type of level. That way your supply, the demand will increase for you. And that way now you maybe go and you keep doing it, and then you go and play with one of those teams for the second live period. That way it doesn't give many games to expose any shortcomings that he may have. Because once you get out there on that 17 on the floor, nobody cares how long you've been playing basketball. Nobody cares if you just started. Nobody cares where you came from. All they care about is are you getting it done right now today, and are you not getting it done on this day. Now, that's the thing on regarding the Matias Baye. And shout out, like I said, he had 16 points in the first game, and he has good hands. He can rebound well, but understand he still has a ways to go, learning and getting totally adapted to the American style and the physicality and the athleticism of some of the guys that he have to do. Because on the other end, you're going to be expected to defend that rim on a consistent basis. Also, Doug, we got what's we had for you? Questions for you in your mailbag. The last week, you went on social media and you informed the general public that the Doug's Dozen will not be an NCAA certified event. Mm-hmm. And what was the reason that you decided to come forward and in an arena where so many people are not transparent? What made you come forward and let people and share that news, that important news, to people in advance?
Because I'm not for deceiving people. My mom and my dad always taught me to be upfront and straightforward with everybody, and I always learned about transparency from you guys. So I felt it was the need to inform teams that were scheduled to come play in the event that it wasn't going to be NCAA certified. Therefore, if they wanted to find another event that was, they had ample time to do so. So I just felt it was best for me and best for my morals to let people know that I wasn't going to deceive them.
Yeah, that's a great thing. So what has the reception been since you've made that announcement?
Now, the reception was great. A lot of people commended me for being straightforward and letting people know. They said a lot of people wouldn't have did that. They would have strung people along until the last minute to where they wasn't able to get into another event. But I'm not built like that. I wasn't raised like that. So I felt there was the need to let people know. But now the reception been great. I think only 2-3 teams have dropped out. So it's been good.
Well, that is definitely a good thing to do. And there's a way for people to find out if events are certified or not. There's an NCAA website that you can go and find out what all the live events are.
Yeah.
And truth be told, if an event is not certified right now, then the odds are not in favor of them being certified. If there's an event that you don't see on that list right now, and your team may be playing in it, I strongly encourage you to go and contact that event operator and ask them point blank, is this event NCAA certified? Because we don't see it on the list. And the reason I'm giving you guys, I try to always empower the people, empower you guys to be better consumers, because a lot of these NCAA certified events come with a higher price tag. And if you're paying, and Doug, your event was not one of those with a higher price tag. That's over $500 and over per team.
Yeah.
Well, if you paying that or paid that, and the event, once again, and you don't see the event on the list, then you are well within your rights to request a portion of a refund. You're very well within your rights to do so. or request more games. Not many of the guys, once they get your bread, they're not going to want to give you your bread back. So, but you have to request, give me an extra game each day. Because know what that means? If it's not an NCAA certified event, then you can play as many games as you wish without restrictions, because there's no NCAA restrictions placed on that event. You can play at whatever time you want to play. So request extra games. One extra game on each day. Maybe that'll make up the gap. Or give me some of my money back. Because had we known, then we would have had enough time to make other accommodations or go elsewhere. And there's people that repeatedly will trick people into thinking that they have live events or live venues. And then when the time comes, you realize that it's not true. And then it's one of those things where there are a lot of people in this world that live by the code that is easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. You don't have to take that. You don't have to take that. You don't have to keep letting it happen to you. That's a different type. You know what? That's a different type of fool that allows somebody to batter them mentally and their parents over and over and over again. At some point, the consumer has to make a statement. And that's the thing on that topic right there. I wanted to give you guys. And also we got Doug Jones, and we have been talking about the grassroots scene, and what else? If there's something that you got in your mailbag, Doug, you want to get off your chest in regarding to a pet peeve or something that's taking place in the spectrum, feel free to share it right now.
I just wish more parents and were more realistic with the Division One. My kid is a D1 player. And also, if I play such and such and had a good game, that makes me, no, that's not the case. That's not the case. Like I get a lot of that in my emails and DMs. Hey man, my kid had 21 against such and such. He's the number one player in the country. He's top 5 in the country. So why are you not showing my kid no love? I mean, like, well, I did show your kid love, but I don't think he's better than him. So that's just my pet peeve. And I also want to shout out JL315U. They qualified for Pete Jam this weekend.
Yeah.
They went 4-0, 5-0, something like that.
Yeah, shout out just to 1500. They beat the Knight Riders in overtime. Think to advance to the championship game, if I'm not mistaken. I think Coach Favre actually coached on that night with that Knight Riders program, and he was there. So once again, and that's what I tell you guys, and it's like people pay attention when it's convenient. I say it again. A lot of people only pay attention when it's convenient. We go and a lot of people will allow you. Think about this. So much stock is placed on the grassroots, on the non-scholastic season, right? Many people have grown to conclude that the recruiting starts and stops in the grassroots non-scholastic season. Well, if that be the case, then a lot of people will also subscribe to the theory that is Houston versus DFW. And in the scholastic season, DFW has maintained as, I guess, a clear advantage during the scholastic season when bundled together. In the non-scholastic season, not so much so. Now, Drive Nation did beat JL3 this past weekend. You take the 61-59. Take that win, run with it. Get a good win, great win. However, if you beat them by 2 without their highest ranked player, without a player who's ranked in the top 20 nationally, then if he don't play and the team loses by 2, how do you think the team feels if they had to play them again with him? Understand, injuries are a part of grassroots basketball. Take that win. That's a great win. Drive Nation. Nobody's gonna beat you up for that win or gonna attack it. Hey, you won. That's the hand that they were dealt. Play it. We said it last week. Injuries occur. Nobody's gonna cry or weep for JL3 because Hudson Greer is not playing. Next man up. You got 3 other guys ranked in the country. Get it done. So the thing is, for the most part, though, we have a clear advantage when bundled together over the DFW in the grassroots sector, right? From 25, now 27 just won, 26. A clear, I wouldn't say it's clear cut or not as clear as during the scholastic season, but how would you feel about that, Doug?
Yeah, I agree. The JL3 is definitely the best program in the state at the 17U level. I think, like we talking all things even, everybody full strength. I think they're by far the best team. But yeah, man, like it varies. Like you always say, man, it moves in ways. So like just because DFW has been running the state and scholastic basketball, H-Town's been holding it down on the summer basketball circuit for a while too. So the hoops always advance forward and Peace down JL3. So I agree with that assessment.
And of course, we have a message for you, Doug, on the feed, and there you go. If you're watching right now, you'll get in a few moments. Somebody sent a message to you, and they said they spoke to you. Say, "Hey, Doug, you see that?"
No, okay.
Okay. Marissa Smith said, "Happy Monday, Chop Shop. Happy Monday, Marissa." And hey, Doug, and she put a bunch of O's and a bunch of U's in there, and you got 3 G's.
Hey, Miss Marissa.
There you go. And of course, we got Thaddeus Moody. Shout out to Thaddeus up in Chicago, Illinois. Now Mark Edwards is chimed in. Shout out to you, Mark. Thanks for joining us. And he says it's going to be more challenging for parents to determine their son's level for the next 2 years. Many Division I level kids will have to enter college via D2 and JUCO, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree.
You agree? How so?
That seems to be the way because the transfer portal is so sought after. They changed a lot of periods for it. So, like, coaches are going to spend majority of the time recruiting transfer than high school kids. So this is going to be real different. Unless you're the upper echelon of talented kids, you're going to have a problem entering college as a Division I player until, like you said, maybe the next 2 or 3 years.
Now,
shout out to Mark too. I was just watching an old and1 video and saw him on there.
Now, you do know that, here's the thing, my take on this. It says many Division I level kids will have to enter college through the D2 and JUCO. Here's the thing. At some point in time, back in the days, Doug, if you drove 55 miles per hour on the freeway was the speed limit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, certain counties and certain states decided to change that to 60 miles per hour, then 65 miles per hour. Then in Texas, I-45 said to hell with that. We're going to make it speed limit 75 miles per hour to go from Houston to Dallas on that one stretch, on that one road stretch of I-45. My point is this. At some point, 55 miles per hour used to be D1. 55 miles per hour ain't D1 no more. It's 65 to 75 miles per hour. So what happens is we gotta quit calling those guys that ain't Division I level, Division I prospect. I say it all the time, all eggs don't hatch on the same day. Some kids are going to get better once they get to college. Some kids they can play a whole lot better once their frames fill out with the needed mass. That's the thing you got to think about. Everybody, and you see some kids, and you're like, man, this kid, they're getting down, man. He wasn't doing that before. Well, his body was a whole different frame before.
Yeah, he wasn't in no college strength and conditioning program at that time.
That matters. It matters, guys. And so this is the thing that, see, the kids don't know any better. Parents, they're lucky as hell to go through this one time in their life. But in today's society, what percentage of those who make their own choice for college, what percentage do you actually think make it without any help from a grown-up? That's not.
Ooh, not many. Hold on one second here. Hold on.
And we got Doug. We get Doug. Doug. Let me see. Doug put us on hold on the Chop Shop. That's a first right there. But here's what we got, guys, as we continue this conversation. There's less than 5%, and I'm being generous, of these young people that actually make their own choice for college. Most are influenced by somebody, right? And most of the people that they're being influenced by, if it's not a family member, then it's a person that's probably been through it.
Yeah, I'm bad. My bad.
That's been through it before. Doug, we got
Hello?
you. Hold tight, Doug. Hold tight. Most of the people that's a third person of influence, that's not an immediate family member, has probably been through that before. They've probably been through that before. So here's what the deal is. Those are the people that's supposed to know better. They're supposed to know what, if the fit is better for you or not. They're supposed to know that, to describe it to the parent and the kid before they endure it. They are supposed to know the questions to toss to the kid and the parents to ask. They're supposed to know if that team and if that coach, if he goes 2 deep, 3 deep, or 5 deep off of his bench. They're supposed to know that. If that coach plays freshmen a lot, that person is supposed to know that. So why do so many times in our society that these guys, that these people they're making this decision or influencing you to make decisions? And here's what I mean by that. If every one of us took a test in high school or in grade school or in college, there were some questions that had the question and you were required to write in the answer. Then there were other ones that were called true or false. That was the most simplified. Your odds are your odds are the highest on a true or false, because you got a 50% chance of getting that one right. Then there are the other ones were multiple choice. Well, on multiple choice questions, you have an A, B, C, D, and sometimes E. Those answers were put there by the person who comprised the test. They wanted you to choose only from those answers. That means, my point in saying this is, when a kid is choosing his colleges or his grassroots teams or what school he's going to go to nowadays, then guess what? Those choices are provided, that multiple choice of answers is provided by the person of influence. They have influence, put it like that, on what those possible choices would be. Now, if you pick one, whether the choices are red, blue, yellow, green, and white. If you pick, and somebody asks you, the question is, what color is the sky? And you pick green. Guess what? Somebody put green there, or if you pick blue and got it right, somebody put that blue there as an answer for you. That's the person that knew the answer. They knew better because they knew the answer already and included it with some other ones. So I mean, even if you pick another answer, it ain't all the way wrong. It's what they wanted you to choose from. Get what I'm saying, guys? So now, those people are supposed to know better. And too many of those are putting people in situations where the odds are in their favor for being exposed versus getting exposure. We had a young man, now Doug will get you back in on this conversation. We had a young man just 2 weeks ago, Aiden Law. He was performing, he was starring with the Houston Defenders team. He left that team, went with the Blue Chips. He went out of town. What happened, Doug?
He didn't get the playing time he thought he was gonna get. That's basically what happened. He fared really well the first he went with the Blue Chips. I mean, not with the Blue Chips, with the Defenders. Went with the Blue Chips, barely got any playing time, so that situation didn't work out well. During that event.
Yeah, and so now, once again, we watched the Defenders this past weekend, and we're saying, hey, man, that was a better fit for him. Or maybe not. But then the Defenders are unlikely to take him back. So now you have to go into another uncomfortable situation where he has to go and introduce himself into a system that's already been a month and a half into existence. But it happens. He's not the first, not the last. I didn't just pick him out. I can go probably before the end of this month, especially after this live period, we'll be able to go down the line of a lot of guys who will have switched and jumped ship on a lot of programs. I guarantee you that. But
it's like little Calvin Murphy III. He left the hoops.
Calvin Murphy III left the hoops, and I heard who's he supposed to be joining? Doug?
Supposed to be joining Team Imperial.
Team Imperial with Drew Parker. And
Drew Parker.
So once again, the person of influencing you, they're supposed to know better. There's no sector of the country that people had not heard the name Calvin Murphy III. They heard the name. They know the dad who's in the Hall of Fame, the granddad who's in the Hall of Fame. They know the son. At some point, you got to let this thing mature itself out. Now, I believe Imperial? I think Team Imperial could be the perfect opportunity for him. But he would have to be a give and take. Calvin Murphy III would have to be willing to sacrifice some part of his game. Because at the next level, but although you're required to make open shots, you're not required to score a whole lot once you get to the next level as a point guard. You're not required to. You're required to get other guys the ball when they have a higher percentage shot than you do. If they're open. You're required to do a whole lot. This thing, now one thing about it, Drew Parker brings out, he has passion. He does well. And the little young man we mentioned earlier, the Jackson kid, if he's still playing with this Team Imperial team, remember the Space Jam just borrowed him for a weekend, I think, because the main Imperial team didn't play this past weekend. If he's still playing, that backcourt could be a problem because the teams that they're going to be playing against will be independent programs, right? Team Imperial's independent. They're going to play independent programs. They will become possibly a red ant in whatever ant bed that they're playing in. Because now, if there's going to be 5 or 10 college coaches that may come and slide through their event during the open period, then that kid, he's going to be playing, whatever he's going to be doing is probably going to be against a non-Division I defender. Not the team, no pun intended. There's going to be a non-Division I kid who's going to be on the other team. You get what I'm saying? Most of the teams that has the bulk of the Division I prospects are on the varsity sneaker circuits or the non-varsity sneaker circuits. That's you get what I'm saying, guys. I'm just trying to school you on this stuff. But meanwhile, there's opportunities will be there. And a lot of people are going to realize soon that this stuff is a lot harder than somebody made you to believe it out to be. Now, Doug, last thing I want to get you is 47 minutes past the hour, the transfer portal. Let's talk about the transfer portal. For the most part, the date is expired to get in the portal. So everybody who's at a school pretty much is stuck there, for the most part, in regard to transferring and playing without having to sit out. What are some of the names that are still on the front of rcssports.com? We have a list of transfers, and there was over 50 from the greater Houston area. As it stands, there's about 20 of those guys are still on the table. Who are some of the ones that are still available? Then what are you hearing?
Well, we have to update it because Marcus Millender committed to UTSA, so I'll go in there and change that. Keelan Dorsey also is going to Kilgore, that was at New Mexico State from Eisenhower.
Okay.
So he committed to Kilgore, so that's a good gig for Coach Bird. Coach Bird does a great job with the team in Houston, man. He'll also be in the building that Doug does the Classic for those who say I ain't gonna have no college coaches though, but that's
No. I'm not gonna. I need you to correct that. You say you're not gonna have no college coaches. You're not gonna have no Division
No,
I.
I'm not. No. So some people say I'm not gonna have any coaches there.
Why would they say that?
Hey man, people they like to run with their own narrative, so I can just prove them better than I could tell them.
So
when you're not.
Go on. I'll give that later. Go on.
Since we last talked, I know Justin Porter is supposedly down to Washington State and Utah. We're talking to him last week. He's setting up some visits. Elijah Lawrence signed to John Brown University in D2 in Oklahoma. He committed there the other day. So they're spots are running out for the of course Amari Abrams going to Louisiana Tech. I think we talked about that. So we still have Jordan Ivy Curry re-entered the portal, which we talked about last week. So
and what about Elijah Elliott?
Elijah Elliott, haven't really heard much on that front. I haven't heard much on that front. I know he was receiving some interest, but like we talked about, man, spots are drying up. So if you have a spot that you feel comfortable with, I think you should go ahead and pull the trigger, man. Go ahead and get that done before you be one of those thousands that are left looking without a home in the fall.
And Okay, and the most important or the most coveted of the names on this portal list, Wesley Yates III. What's the latest on
Yeah.
him?
Supposedly, like I said, supposedly be setting up a visit to USC. He was supposed to go a couple weeks ago, but something happened to his flight with the weather, and he had to cancel it. He's already taken the 2 visits to Oklahoma State and Louisville, which I heard both went really well. Kentucky inquired about him once Albert Brooks III took the job, so he's gonna definitely have his pick of the litter when it comes to it. Because I'm pretty sure he's one of the most coveted ones in not only in the area but probably in the country.
And I'm looking at some more names on this list, and I'm seeing Braylon Bush. This kid,
Yeah.
you know, he went to McNeese, then Northwestern University in Louisiana. And
You went JUCO first after McNeese too.
that's right, went to JUCO first, and now he's on the move. And Jarrell Colbert is a name on that list. He played Kansas State this past season. You have, I mean, it's these guys are on the pecking order. And think about it. I wonder how many of these guys who actually thought that they would be still, their names would still be available on the available list at this point in time in May after entering in the portal. Now, one thing about the portal, it includes walk-ons. A lot of kids in the portal, once again, in case you missed it, the transfer portal includes a walk-on. So if your kid was a walk-on at a particular university, then and they get in the transfer portal, it doesn't differentiate whether they were a walk-on or not. For those that know, do your homework and you could tell the walk-ons versus the ones that wasn't. And of course, if you really pay attention and we really just get to the purest element of it, whenever a kid is on scholarship, the sports information department will make a news bulletin or an article or a press release when there's movement on a scholarship player. If a news article is comprised and you do not see the name of that particular player, and he didn't, then that probably, and you know he's on the move, then that's a sign or a red flag that he was a walk-on. They're not obligated to speak on the walk-ons, only the scholarship players that they were bounded by letters of intent. So just in case you didn't know that, I just gave you some food for thought. Another guy on that list, Terry Anderson from Lamar University, is a name to watch on that particular list. I see him going to a mid-level school, but it's going to be hard pressed to find him going to one that's going to give him the freedom that he had at Lamar University this past season for that young man out of Deer Park High School. So that's pretty much it, Doug. We definitely appreciate you for chopping it up with me on the Chop Shop on this Monday. We
No problem.
once again we'll have when you gonna have the website updated with some recap stuff so they'll know the game.
I have updated first thing in the morning, man. First thing.
Okay, first thing in the morning, you guys make sure you go and check. That's Doug Jones, and we appreciate that, Doug. Thanks a bunch for chopping up with us. And of course,
All right.
guys, that was Doug Jones. Great convo. If you missed it, enlightened you, took a lap around the track on a lot of different programs, and of course, shout out to everybody that's who chimed in and shared the show. I think Herb Baker has just gave us some news, and he says that Nathan Law has just committed to Colorado Christian University in Lakewood, Colorado. That's Nathan Law has just committed, and he's a young man who was committed to University of Texas at Rio Grande Valley, and they had a coaching change. this stuff can happen to anybody. So then you're thrust right into the recruiting period of the transfer portal, and you're going against all these guys, and this is where you get an opportunity where I'm pretty certain, I'm gonna go out on the ledge, but I'm pretty certain that he's going to this school for next to nothing, if not nothing, in regard to expenses. Nathan Law could definitely be a huge addition to that program this season. He can be an immediate impact at Colorado Christian University. So shout out to him and his for his endeavors. And also I see Odyssey says Rafa skipped to my Lou Austin team, got something going. There they are, 15 and under, Odyssey. I saw them in action at the Coos Elite 15 and under, and I put them against a 17 and under team yesterday evening, their second matchup, a team that had from out of Livingston, Texas, and they had won all 3 of their games. They would get 2 games on each day. And these young men from Livingston, I applaud them. We're going to talk more about them on tomorrow, and as well as the Elite 36. So teams from out of town, teams that were watching, you know me, I get to these things, and I'm one of the only ones that I know. I told you this, that after the event is over with, I still have the score sheets. I go through the score sheets. And so people wonder, what do you get when you come and play in an event that I'm affiliated with? You're going to get that. So, and that's going to possibly give you ink. I may notice something that went unnoticed when they actually played. Not much, but in the scoring department. And what I do often, I tell the scorekeepers to write me a note, right? Write notes of a kid that did something good or bad during the game. I'm giving you some of my tips on what I do. So therefore, you never know who's evaluating you. So my people at the scores table, they're getting paid to, understand, not necessarily evaluate you, but if you did something or said something, that caught their attention, write it down. Let me know. Then that way now I can go back and look at the notes on the back of the score sheets, on the bottom of the score sheets. Different ones do different things. And then there's others that are sending a text message. But I'm telling you guys, get what you pay for, or try to get the best bang for your buck when you go to these events. Shout out to the Gulf Coast Blue Chip 16U. Of course, they didn't play this weekend; they were idle. But man, we talked about them greatly last week. Went 3-0, and kicked a little butt on that Under Armour circuit. So we have teams that are undefeated, that are kicking butt out there on these circuits. Pay attention. Pay attention, because others will only pay attention when it's convenient. That's the thing. And lastly, thank Keith Avery. Get ready to get up out of here. He said you have time to speak on the Ruck on Wood 2024. It's the last 2 Sundays in August. Ruck on Wood, the last 2 Sundays in August. The 11th and 12th graders on the first Sunday. I mean, not the first one, but put it like this. The 9th and 10th graders on the last Sunday of August, and the 11th and 12th graders the Sunday before that. And it'll be in the afternoon. Those that get invites, we'll talk about that during the summer. It's a great, very organized open gym setting. You definitely want it. We have fun with that every year. Lastly, Graham Bishop said, what happened with Dorsey? Doug Jones mentioned that Keelan Dorsey that is going to Kilgore Junior College. That's what you missed on Mr. Dorsey. All right. And also, Thaddeus Moody says his nephew, Grant Newell, is committed to North Texas State University. He's transferring from Cal. That's a big pickup for North Texas. North Texas, with the success they've had over the past couple of years, it's easier to get people from, of course, that's DFW. That's Dallas. So it's not hard to sell. Well, actually, it's Denton, technically. But it's good to get, it's easy to lure kids from the West Coast to come on up in there. And other than that, man, that is pretty much it. And I'm just reading up some of the last comments. And I see you guys. We're going to get ready to land this plane shortly. And I thank you guys so much. But I'm going to ask you to share the show one last time before we get up out of here. Share the show before you hit the door. Also, go over to RCS Sports. Check out the transfer portal list that we was talking about. Also, if you missed it, check out the recaps from a lot of the teams, how they fared on the circuits this past weekend. We're going to add more first thing in the morning. You get your Elite 36 recap as well. Don't forget about that. Spread the word about the Chop Shop. We are getting ready to get up out of here. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in to us today. Peace. On behalf of Robert Hatter, Jim Hicks, much love. First, let me get Doug. Get that up out of here. And we are gone.
Jim Hicks, Rob Hatter, you are now tuned in to the Chop Shop. I'm Retro, let's get it. We in the Chop Shop, we live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop, we live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the Chop Shop. Yeah, it's lit in the Chop Shop. Turn your dials up in the drop top. They ain't based in debate, but they keep it fact straight. Going 30 for 30. Let's do a first take on Facebook Live from 12 to 2. Rob Hatter and Jim Hicks going back and forth like Claude Ray and Skip Bayless and Stephen Smith. From on the court, off the court, straight to the field. Not a man that steals, but I made it still. To the octagon where I fight to kill. We go face to face, then you write your will. I don't play tennis, but I bring the racket. I'm on the floor, I attack the basket. Put you in the casket when I'm overlapping. Never showing mercy, cause I'm always snapping. Never showing mercy when I'm in the arena. Step into the ring, you see me as I beat him. Step into the court, I'm never backing down. Killing competition, I'm smacking down. Let me get back to the other stuff at the Chop Shop, cause they cutting up. It's Retro coming to you live to the Chop Shop. Now let's turn it up.